Blessings, sisters. I hope you're all doing well today. Lena, thank you so much for the video that you sent. I really appreciated it, and there was a lot of resonance there for me. Many years ago, I had a past life regression where an ally of mine in this work did a channeled song. They worked with music, and as they did that, I went into a deep trance, and I had memories of being a teacher on and in Pleiades. And so I've very strongly resonated with the frequencies of Pleiades, and I also know that a collective of my guides are from the Pleiades as well. And I actually recently read a book called Sarah, the daughter of Mary Magdalene, and so she did a channeled book through this woman, and it's a really thin book. It's easy. I actually got through it in a whole day because once I started it, I could not put it down. And within that channeled book, she's speaking of how both Yeshua, Jesus, and Mary Magdalene and herself and Mother Mary are all Pleiadian starseeds. And so the Pleiades and Pleiadian beings and the collective have been dedicated to the mission of supporting the evolution of consciousness on Earth. And some foundational reasons for this are because they are in allyship with the sentient being Sophia Gaia, who is our Mother Earth. And she sent out a message to the universe saying that, we're under attack by energies that are wanting to create fear and control. And then there was an answering of that call by beings from various star systems that are benevolent and have a desire to support the coming of age when there's harmony throughout the cosmos, and believe in full empowerment and sovereignty of all beings. And so we started to incarnate on Earth, and this has been happening for thousands of years. And we're now coming into, these times when all of our activations and gifts are fully coming online. And as this video had spoken about, that this has to do directly with the evolution of Sophia Gaia, or the Earth herself, and with that, the reactivation of the grid lines. And so I will be sending out activation meditations. I'm just putting it into a course structure on my website that I'm going to be sharing with all of you that are in this apprenticeship or leadership program. So as you go through those meditations, you are astral traveling to these different grid points, which are connected to the energy centers or chakra points of Sophia Gaia. And they not only support the activation of these gifts within your own energy centers and energy body, but also within the Earth and the grid itself. So, it is part of the Starseed mission and or Lightworker mission to support the opening of this clear communication and or pathways, energy lines, as we were talking about last night in class, similar to the energy lines that we have within our body, or the energy channels. We were talking about the nadis, as they're known or called in the Vedic teachings. And so, as we work with these activations, we allow ourselves to become conduits for opening up these pathways within the Earth. And we may be called to actually physically go to these places, which I myself am, and to receive the activations and codes and to offer activations and codes. And it's this act of reciprocity of activating within each other. And then we carry these codes within our physical field, our biofield, and those that are ready to receive these codes, we actually become beings of enlightenment for those who are ready. And just by being within our presence, they're able to come into higher and higher recognition and or alignment with their sovereign selves or their true nature, which is that we are, divine spiritual beings having this human experience. And it's a privilege to have this human experience, this ability to be able to feel and experience the polarity of emotions, of sadness and joy and anger and freedom and fear and control and liberation. And, this is part of our path here, part of the higher path of consciousness to come back into unity, into wholeness. And, we need to move so far into separation. The only place left to go is to come back together. This is aligned with the laws of expansion and contraction, which we see in all different areas in our life, from cell phones starting really big, then getting small, then getting big again, to even just within our breath, this practice of expansion and contraction. And so within that channeling, all of it was in resonance for me, and I just invite you to always tune into your own intuition, because I believe that 8 billion people on the planet, 8 billion different truths, and quantum physics does actually point to that being the truth, is that with each of us, we have our own individual perceptions, and through perceiving, we are actually creating the world. So we are viewing it, but we are also projecting. And so, coming into these times of this great shift, or, it's calling it a split in consciousness, is the choice of every soul to either move into a state of trust, love, surrender, unity, unconditional love, or to move further into fear, control, manipulation, whether through material means or through consciousness. And I was speaking with a friend recently who is talking about, World War III is already happening, but this war is being fought in a very different way. It's actually a war on our consciousness. So, the more and more we can come into higher alignment with the fact that we are actually all choosing what is existing within our reality, the more we can become the creators of the reality, and the more of us that choose to jump into that perception of consciousness, the more that we're able to shift the collective. And I got this kind of download about 3 days ago, and it really came back into the forefront of my mind when I was listening to this transmission that you shared this morning, Lena. And what it was, I very, very often, Spirit speaks in different metaphors that we can understand within our human mind and our experience in this physical realm, so that we can find a way to kind of like connect with an understanding that really is actually beyond the mind, beyond logic. It's quantum in nature. But anyways, what the metaphor that I got was basically, so we're going to use Apple computers as the example here. So I have an old iMac, and the iMac, I used to be able to, as an Apple client, you can always upgrade the software. You get the message, there's new software that you can download and upgrade. So the hardware of this, computer is able to continually be upgraded to a higher and higher level of processing, basically. So the ability to receive information in new ways and process information in new ways is constantly had the ability to be upgraded until it got to a certain time at which I'm pointing this way because it's in my daughter's room, and I actually do need to bring it in for recycling, because it's no longer, this hardware is now outdated. So the Apple is no longer allowing or able to integrate new software. So the hardware has actually now gone out of date. And so what does this look like in human experience with this shifting of timelines and perspectives? Is that if a hardware, a human body and psyche is not able to take on these new upgrades in software, our perception and or consciousness, then eventually the hardware will have no other choice but then to expire. And so what does that look like? It looks like the coming of potential, disease or early death or just death in general. And what happens, to that hardware when it dies. For example, with my computer, I'm going to bring it to my computer tech, and he's going to put it into recycling, or I would bring it down to my local recycling depot. And what happens to it? It gets recycled, and it gets eventually turned into potentially another computer that has been created to be able to work with higher and higher frequencies or progressions of software. And so with the human, the physical vessel, if it's not willing to upgrade to the newer versions of software, which are really higher and higher frequencies of light, then it eventually will need to expire. The physical body expires. The person experiences a physical death. Of course, on the spiritual level, there is no death, right? It's just a transition of energy and of consciousness. But the physical body then goes back to the earth, or however it chooses to reintegrate itself into this physical world. And then eventually, it will potentially nourish. If it's turned to ash, those ashes do nourish the soil. If it's, buried into the earth, if it's not in a box, then it can nourish, the growth of new flowers, new trees. Or, if we think about a dead animal on the street, it feeds other animals. They're able to receive the energy and the life force from it. This is one of the most beautiful parts of life. Not pretty, but incredibly beautiful. And then there was another one after I finished listening to the message that you sent that came in, and it was a reference to the upgrade of the internet and cable systems. So we used to use these copper cable systems. It was the traditional way that we would have a line coming into the house, and that would either go into a modem for wireless connectivity within your home space, physical space, or it would be hardwired into, you could plug it into like a TV for cable, or directly into your computer for your internet, your Ethernet cable. And then they upgraded that. So TELUS started going around and being like, okay, we're now going to the fiber optics, right? Because the cable, the old, and if you think about the copper as well, copper is a beautifully powerful, conductive, and essential mineral to our physical bodies, and also to this world, and to just the electrical components of the physicality, but it is of a denser form. And so they moved to fiber optics, and this fiber optics is actually like it's light moving through like threads or hairs. It's even more subtle. It's not so physical and dense anymore. It's even more subtle, and through the more subtlety, more of the energy is actually able to flow. Energy in the form of light. Light is information, light is technology, and so that's able to flow more freely. And what happens is you get faster networks, right? So this is similar to this, like upgrading our entire systems. We have to be willing, but the willingness also happens, at the soul level, and all souls are choosing. When COVID first started, I remembered like doing my best on my family chat with my immediate family, sisters, parents, etc. And I would be like, oh, this is happening, pay attention, and kind of having this egoic desire for them to see it from my perspective. And it's been a really beautiful awakening to just allow myself to surrender into the truth, or the realization that every being is choosing, even if not at the conscious level, at the soul level. We are choosing. So, if people are wanting to come along this path with us into wherever we are choosing to allow ourselves to go as beings who are consciously open to the laws of expansion, then we're going to be able to continually like upgrade our bodies. Our bodies are going to go through different levels of upgrades physically as well. And so if you're getting the call to like do a detox, or to fast, or to focus on whole foods, or to drink more clean water, or to let go of certain things that you were consuming, whether, through like liquid or food or media or even just environments that you're in, the more we allow ourselves to surrender into what we're being guided, the more we are actually choosing these higher timelines. And really, in choosing the higher timelines, we are welcoming in more liberation and ease and flow and really synchronicity. So synchronicity can bring in a lot more ease into our lives, where we don't feel like we're trying to like slug along to make things happen, but things just start to align more. So yeah, as we move through this March portal, March 2025, we have the lunar eclipse on the 14th, on Friday the 14th, which is in Virgo. I did look that up to confirm. And so this is symbolizing whatever we're letting go of. And so full moons always offer an opportunity for release and relief as well, if we're willing to surrender, but for release. And when it is an eclipse, it amplifies that release energy as well. So, whatever is being presented to us to release, the more we are willing to allow that to naturally happen, the more ease we can experience, and just surrendering to this idea that, the universe as a whole has a plan. And even though we are, divine creators, co-creators within this plan, there is, this universal flow or force that is really guiding this collective ascension. And the more we can allow ourselves to trust in that process, the more we can actually experience the miracles and the magic that is available to us. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this in one of our classes, but a couple weeks ago I saw a post on social media, and it was showing a picture of a single flower, and it was like what we have planned for ourselves. And then it was a picture of a bouquet, and it was like what the universe actually has planned for us. So, allowing ourselves to be in this deep state of like surrender and listening and attuning and releasing and aligning during this time is going to ensure that when we get to the end of this eclipse season on March 29th, that what is meant to be revealed to us will be revealed to us, and we'll be able to continue moving into these new timelines and this full birthing of the new earth, which happens through each of us individually, to happen in a way that really calls for us to step fully into our power. So, with the equinox on the 21st, the spring equinox, equinoxes in these different solar alignments through the year are always very powerful shifts, which is why it is often that we practice rituals on these days. I don't necessarily resonate with this idea that something happens right on a linear exact day, and they did even mention this in the video that you sent. But it's a process that happens over time, but that there are specific, we can call them more than linear time alignments. They're kind of like celestial and or astrological alignments. And it was talking also about moving out of, Kali Yuga, or the age of darkness, which we've been in for thousands of years, into, this next evolution, or the age of light. I'm not sure what the next one is called. I haven't brushed up on my Vedic teachings with regards to these ages that we're in, but outside of the Vedic teachings, and what I download is it's called like the golden age, right, is what we're actually moving into. And so it's this rebirthing of the golden age. And so allowing ourselves to just surrender into this portal, be as gentle with ourselves as possible, give ourselves hydration, time in nature, and choose where you are directing your focus, because what we look at is what becomes our reality. Just like we know with breath work and energy work, wherever we focus, we send the energy or the intention. So, your biggest commodity that you have is your attention and your time. So where are you choosing to focus your attention and your time? And so, yeah, thank you so much for sharing this today, Lena. Those are my thoughts. Thank you for receiving them. And yeah, wishing you all a really expansive eclipse season. All right. I love you.